Oh, man.
Hi, Facebook family. It's Kirsten Hagland here. Welcome to another episode of Weekly Hope. I'm so glad that you're joining us. I'm here with my unofficial co-host of the show, Elsa, who's got her hood on because it's rainy and chilly here in Zurich, Switzerland, where I am at. I hope wherever you are watching, it's maybe a little bit nicer weather. But even if it's not, it's the holiday season, so there's lots of other reasons to be happy. So glad that you're with us today. We have a special episode today, and I'm really glad that you're joining us on a Monday. Usually we hold the show on Wednesdays, but last Wednesday, we had a little bit of technical difficulties with our guests, and they're the creators of the Peace with Food app, Dr. Megan Osborne and Amy Carlson, a dietitian, and they have such good content, and I really wanted to let you guys know about this app, but because of those technical difficulties, we said, okay, we're going to sign off and we'll reschedule. So they are back. It's I'm really glad that we have the opportunity to talk with them and to get some of this really incredible information out there about what they've created, who they are. It's incredible app wherever you are in the recovery process. So before I invite them on, just a little bit about this show and what the protocol is going to look like for the next 30 minutes or so. Weekly Hope, we're a show where we invite experts, clinicians, advocates, people with their own recovery stories, just anybody and everybody across the spectrum of eating disorders and mental health to come on and share their insight and wisdom, and to give you the opportunity to ask questions, to share your thoughts, your comments, your stories. This is a very conversational kind of show, and we want to hear from you. So wherever you're signing in from, please let us know. We've already got Elena signing in and saying hello. Hi, Elena. Thank you for being with us. And we had Kim, who signed on at the beginning and said, is this where we watch? And she said, I figured it out. Good. Glad you're here with us, Kim, as well. So throughout, feel free to ask questions if you have them at any time. So without further ado, I am going to bring on my guests for today. We've got, let's switch this around there. We've got Dr. Osborne and Amy. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Oh, she left us.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh,
where
we go.
Back. Sorry, guys. I'm here. So I shan't leave you alone on the Facebook Live. No problem. Dr. Osborne is, of course, one of the co-founders of the Peace with Food app. She spent 13 years in private practice, specializing in eating disorders and also binge eating disorders. She was working at Stanford University in the Behavioral Health Sciences Department before her clinical practice, focusing on research, identification, and prevention of eating disorders in public schools. More recently, she's been channeling her passion into the prevention of eating disorders by publishing children's books and equipping, of course, parents as well in that parent-child relationship for the prevention of eating disorders and development of healthy body image. And of course speaks to moms groups and MOPS groups, which is mothers of preschooler groups across the country. So that's a little bit about Dr. Osborne down there in the bottom. And she's joining us from
Boise, Idaho.
Boise, Idaho. And then we're also very pleased to welcome Amy Carlson, who is a registered dietitian and the other co-founder of the Peace with Food app. She also has a private practice. She's in Houston, Texas, serving the eating disorder population there for nearly 2 decades. She has a Bachelor's of Science in Nutrition from University of Minnesota and received her Master's in Science in Nutrition from TWU and the Texas Medical Center. Of course, she's also very passionate about equipping women with truth, finding freedom from eating disorders and recovery, and she is a highly sought after and really incredible and inspirational speaker, not only across the state of Texas, but across the country as well. So very happy to have her here too, Amy, and you're joining us from Texas, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, wonderful. Well, so glad to have you here. And we'll just dive in right from the beginning where we did last time on Wednesday. And would just love for our audience to hear a little bit about how you got into the eating disorder field in the first place. And Megan, we can start with you.
Yeah, for most of us, even as you mentioned last time, that most of us who are in the field have experienced ourselves. And so, my eating disorder began in middle school at the lunch table, and you're being teased and thinking that I was fat or what I was eating wasn't right. And that was really the slippery slope for me for years of struggling with anorexia, bulimia, binging disorder before I found full recovery. And just the desire to meet women where they're at, knowing that I've been there, and knowing that there's hope and there is freedom in that. And really where I'm at today with the app is that intuitive eating piece, because that to me is such a critical piece of recovery. And also not just recovery, but just in general, people who don't have peace with food have been dieting for years. There's so much hope in that. So that's really where it began for me.
Cool. And Amy, how about you?
I know, same. I was a gymnast my whole life, and I just had a coach that said, hey, if you could lose 5 pounds, your timing would be so much better. And, she might as well have said 100 pounds because that's what I heard. I had watched my mom diet, and that began an eating disorder for me. Really quite a long battle with anorexia, bulimia, and then what became orthorexia, which wasn't even really a term back then. And so my eating disorder led me. I started out with world politics and all these other things and ended up in nutrition, and never really wanted to work with eating disorders. I thought I wanted to work in corporate wellness, and just beautifully got to sit across from an eating disorder patient and knew that that's what I was to do. And so I've been in the field ever since. And like Megan, have just the passion of helping people just be invited back to the table is such a gift. And that's been what's been so cool for us with the app, is just this invitation really back to the table. For women and men everywhere.
Yeah, and I'd love to segue into that, because you both, as I mentioned in reading your bios, you both have had practice your clients and speaking and doing all these other projects. But now this delve into technology and creating an app. So where in the world did this idea and inspiration come from? And I guess either one of you can start, and I know you'll piggyback off one another.
Yeah, I'll grab that. We about 5 years ago, Amy and I, when we met, we just knew right away that there was a project that we had, and we thought initially that it would be to write a book together. And so we just years of just kind of talking about what is that, and then one day I had a client who said, "I just wish I had you in my back pocket." And it was just at that moment I thought, that's it. That's the project with Amy. We have to create an app. Because so much of what we do it could be found in a book, but it would be so much better if it was interactive. And that was really the missing piece, is we wanted something that could be interactive, that people could use, and it wouldn't just sit on the shelf and get dusty. I mean, honestly, that was it. So I called Amy up and said, I think I have the idea. And she said, that's it. That's what it is. And so that's kind of started the journey of creating the app.
And we've been doing pen and paper, hunger scale, and really helping women and men kind of find that hunger and fullness again. And so when Megan called and said, okay, scratch the book, let's do this app. And I laughed, of course, because neither Megan and I are super tech savvy in and of ourselves in our own lives. And so the thought of doing this app felt so right, because so often in our careers, it's whatever is making us uncomfortable that we know that we're called into that place. And so it's been an amazing journey, not only just to work together and collaborate, but to see how excited people have been to actually have it real time and not think about, oh, I need to go do that at the end of the day, or I need to have my little notebook with me or something. But the idea of this, I mean, it was a brilliant idea, and it's been such a joy to get to do it with her.
Yeah, and so let's dive in a little bit to the app and what it does. It's called Peace with Food, and the main emphasis, the main focus, I mean, obviously hugely essential for people in recovery, working with a treatment team in recovery from an eating disorder. But everyone can use the principles and benefit from the principles of intuitive eating. But before we get to, and I'm going to show everyone here on my phone the app and everything, Amy, of course, you're the dietitian here. So why don't you define what exactly intuitive eating is?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of different, maybe official definitions of intuitive eating. But what Megan and I like to say is it's taking the external and bringing it back internal. Somewhere along the way when we're kids, we know how to eat. I always use, children as an example of intuitive eaters. We're just born to know the rhythms of hunger and fullness. That's how our bodies are made. And then external factors start to dictate that, our proximity to food, our view of our own body and body image, all the things that play into that. We begin dieting and we really give away the external cues, and we look to external cues to tell us. We get on the scale, we look at a diet, what is it telling us to eat? And so we've really transferred that power, and we've given that external power to decide when we're hungry and full. And so intuitive eating is bringing that back. It's remembering who we are. We love using just that language of remembering. It's already there. It's not a new skill that we're teaching people. It's how their bodies were made. And so it's kind of uncovering all those layers that have filtered through. And it's learning how to eat when we're hungry and stop when we're comfortably full, and learn to sit with the essential pain sometimes of what that feels like, both to find that hunger again and to let that fullness dictate when we stop eating. So it's taking the external and bringing it back internal.
Yeah, and Megan, talk a little bit about even the name of the app, Peace with Food. And you mentioned that before about a client saying something about wanting to have peace with food. Obviously, that must be something that's come up in your practice as well quite a bit.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. One of the interesting things that Amy and I, even 5 years ago when we were just colleagues and friends, talking about is there is a large percentage of women and men who come seeking help and they don't have a clinical eating disorder. Yeah. It has nothing to do with, what's in the, the clinical books of what sort, but they just have either watched a parent diet, they have friends who diet, and so they don't know how to taste food any longer. They, like Amy had just said, they don't know their hunger and fullness. And so that's where the idea of peace with food, because they will say, I don't have peace with food. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. And so that was just that piece of really reaching the masses. Most people just don't have peace with food. And that's the mission. That's our mission, our passion, is that everybody can sit down, taste food, know their hunger and fullness, and have confidence in that.
Yeah, and it's such an important message, I think, especially right now, because it seems like we are in a culture where we should constantly be at war with our bodies, and constantly identifying foods as good and bad.
Yeah, always. I say that when I first started practicing 20 years ago, my job and mission was the same, was to invite women, primarily women, but women and men back to the table. And back then I could use reference points. I would say to them, think about normal eaters in your family, and people would have them. Now I say invite these women and men back to the table, and nobody's there. They're all gone. They're using diets and manufactured kind of other things dictating what they should eat. And so it's really disorienting. And that's the beautiful part about this app, is even for women who are in recovery and begin to use this app, they can share it with their family. And really it's the same language. It's the same language, both for women in recovery and for their family and friends. It's really cool to kind of see that blend together.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all right. Before we dive into the app and I pull it up on my phone, I'm putting the link here in the comments section. The website is www.hellopeacewithfood.com. I'm also going to put it up on the screen here. So there we go. So you guys can see it as well. Okay. So this is so cool. I just thought I'd do it since I have it up on my phone, and we can kind of walk through it, and you can be like, oh, this is this, and this is this. If that sounds good for you guys. Okay, so it's available on iOS and Android, so the Google Play and the Apple Store. So this is the app, everyone. If you can wait, hold on, wait. There.
Oh, yeah, a little bit the other way. Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
This is so cool.
Wait. Okay. This is so much more difficult than it
seems. Yes, there it is. There. Yes, you got it.
Peace with Food. PWF. Right there. Peace with Food app. I'm going to open it. Okay, so, and then this is what comes up. If you can see here. And you create an account, of course, and every time you go, this is what I think is just the coolest thing. Okay, so you're going to go here. You're like, okay, I have a meal. I'm going to.
You just got to press your son.
Just open the day. Yeah. Just press the sun at the bottom.
Today. Okay.
And we're in the learn. Oh, fun. Oh, all over the world.
Wait. Sun. Oh, no, sun is down there. Okay. So I just want to get to the coolest part.
Oh,
wait. Hold on. So this is the coolest. This is the neatest thing. So you click eat. Okay. I'm eating a meal right now. Okay.
There you go.
So first you identify where you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
So explain this, guys.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Megan.
Okay. So if you can see the gray right there, the whole premise of the app and what our language between Amy and I is to stay in the gray. And staying in the gray means right there comfortably where you're either ready to eat or you're full and satisfied. And so if you drag that middle button around in the gray, that helps you to identify where's your tummy at right then. And if you go out of the gray, the color will change and it'll either be, if you're overly full, it'll be orange on that side and stuff. Yep. And on the other side, it goes yellow, kind of saying we're starving or famished. So the whole goal is to stay in the gray, whether you're ready, neutral, full, and satisfied. Mm-hmm. And so just as she pulled up, that's like the eat. So you can check in before you eat, saying, either I'm ready to eat now, and then it'll give you some encouragement to go slow and taste. And then when you finish, ideally you'd be full and satisfied, and that would track right there during your day.
Mm-hmm. So cool.
In the Learn section, we have a Q&A about all those different language, kind of what each one of those is, kind of, what does it feel to feel ready? What does it feel to be overly full versus full and satisfied? And it's just so cool because there's a huge wealth of learning. There's the Q&As, and then there's about 4 or 5 videos, how to use the app, but then what's intuitive eating, and just all these different things. And so it's just in that Learn section is this huge wealth of information that people, that's it, that tap to read the Q&A. That's right. And then they can come back to those and reread. We add to those Q&A every week. There's just tons and tons of information in there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the answer is to the can I lose weight using this app? I bet the answer is that's not the point.
Right. We love to take those questions because we know that they're out there. So it's fun to get to answer those questions.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there's so much. And then once you do click eat, so let's say I'm neutral, I'm beginning, got it, you're neutral, and then you can click ready to begin. So I click ready to begin, and this is so cool. So then you're eating, and this is what pops up. This is the coolest thing. So there's these little messages. It'll say taste. It'll remind you to go slowly. Mm-hmm. And this is as you're eating, and it's there the whole time that you're eating. I love this. Remember, food is a gift. Yeah. So important. Be present. Yeah. Like all these incredible reminders. What's the next one? Taste. Like actually taste your food.
Yeah.
An important reminder. But it goes through this whole time, and then of course you can tap it when you're finished, and then it asks you again, as Megan said, where you are. Okay, I'm full and satisfied. Yum, yum. And then you're done. And then you have a summary. You can keep track of it.
And you can journal when you're done. Anytime you check in, you have that option of journaling, which has been so helpful for so many, because those, when you if you want to share your summaries, which we can certainly get to that later, then you can. Those journals share too. So you can share those both with your provider or your friends. And for so many of our people, so many of our clients, and just the masses, it helps just to journal, just to note, like, I was rushed, I didn't pay attention. It's helpful to find patterns in their eating. So often when we would have clients kind of track at the end of the day, maybe they were like, oh, I forgot, so I'm going to check in at the end of the day. And they would forget what happened. I don't remember why did I overeat or what was happening then. And so when you can just on your phone really quick make a note, it's so helpful to go back to that. And we're just looking for patterns, and it's just so helpful. We're really just observers. We're just observing what have I been doing, and what tiny changes can I make without it being this, voice in our head. And it's so encouraging. We wanted the app to be so encouraging, like a little cheerleader in your pocket.
Yeah. And what have you found in the response and people that have downloaded and worked with it? What have been some of the most beneficial, or people say like, oh, this is my favorite part of this app. This really does something that I couldn't do on my own.
Yeah, I'll take that one. Part of it's the notifications. can set in the app how many times you want to be reminded. And the reminder that pops up on your phone says, be present. Where are you now? And that's the whole idea, is being mindful about where are you now, because so often we get so busy during our day, we forget to check in with our body, how we're feeling. So when the notification comes up, whether you want to come up every 30 minutes, every hour, it'll take you right to that beautiful rhythm tracker that Kirsten had shown. And you can just drag it to right where you're at, hit done, and then you can just move on with your day. But people have loved that. That's been one of the biggest things. I'd say the second thing that we found, especially in the last 3 months, is the connect. So you can invite friends to do this together. And so you guys will be in the connect. And so when you share your rhythms with each other, you can ask questions and you can encourage each other. So we've had a huge response of people sharing it with their family. And so everybody's doing it together. And that's really beautiful.
That is really, really cool. Just want to let you guys know, too, that I put some links in the comments. Obviously, the link to the website is there in the comment section as well if you want to click and download it. And also, Kim writes, hi, Amy and Megan from Ontario, Canada. Love the app and you both.
Hi, Kim.
Super encouraging. So cool. Thanks, Kim, so much for signing on. And want to let you guys know, too, of course, again, if you have any questions for Megan or Amy at any time, let us know, or you just want to say hello and let us know. We've had some new people pop on in the last few minutes, and so just want to make sure you get your voices heard as well.
I was going to add a comment to Megan's about when you asked about what are some things. We just, even in the app store, we've had some of the coolest reviews that just have been it's just so encouraging when you hear people's positive things. But a cool thing is I had a colleague of Megan and I's who, just coaches women in recovery, and in particular, this one woman with binge eating. And she said, she introduced her to the app, and after 3 sessions, the woman said, I've been a binge eater all these years, and I'm done. She said, I literally didn't know I had hunger and fullness cues. I had no idea. And it literally rocked her world to go, I can listen. And Megan's had an amazing story about just a woman who had never not binged on birthday cake, and just this beauty of, of just these stories that come in that just make us so excited to just be part of that, really.
Yeah, Megan, go ahead. Did you want to share a little bit of that story?
Yeah, that story was huge. It was a woman who I think she had the app for a week, and it was just a week of her coming back into it, and then her birthday was coming up. And she emailed me later and said, this is the first time in my memory that I didn't binge on my birthday cake. She said for years, it was the one thing that she'd get a birthday cake and she'd eat the whole thing. And she's like, I had no desire, because it doesn't even sound good. I could have one piece and I was done. And that is the beauty of.
Yeah.
Wow. It's so amazing, because it's like things that working with a therapist, you can get to these, great breakthroughs on, and even in your own mind you can, but then when it comes to actually doing it, it can be so hard.
Right.
And so this makes such a huge difference. And I want to just underline and let you guys talk about that as well, that this is not just something for people with eating disorders. I mean, isn't this something that, in my view, when I look at American culture generally and the way our relationship with food, I feel like everyone is disordered eating.
Yeah,
they are.
It can be even by people without eating disorders, right?
Absolutely.
So Megan and I talk all the time. Both, Megan has 2 kids and I have 4 kids, and we're in the circles of moms and voices and just all of this, and it's everywhere. It's everywhere. The language is. And that was one of the motivations for Megan and I too. We would hear this language everywhere, and we couldn't tell everyone, can you schedule an appointment, because we really want to talk about this, just with the general population. And what was so cool was this to go, we could just say, hey, check out this app. We don't have to tell them that we were the authors of it. It's like, check out this app if you heard about Peace with Food, where they can go and they can learn and they can have this kind of just tiny little bit of like revelation of, oh wow, I've been this start Monday or start January 1st mentality is chronic. It's everywhere. The language is everywhere. And so it's just so cool to be able to actually give them something that they could go and see, and for the masses, really. And also when we're working with clients in recovery, it is so, 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 so essential that their families, their caregivers, their families, their close friends have language to use. And this tool gives them something that's really tangible for them to have language that says, okay, this is the language I can use with my loved one that's in recovery, rather than them talking dieting language and then trying to shift gears and talk about a different language, with their loved one.
Yeah.
Okay, there you are. We lost you for a second.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I want to bring this question in. Denise says, I still follow a meal plan in my recovery. How would I move from that to starting to eat intuitively and be able to use the app?
Absolutely. Do you want me to take that, Megan?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, Denise, hello. We're glad you're with us. Well, I have lots of clients that begin in recovery on a meal plan. That's a perfectly lovely and wonderful place to start. And when we're transitioning that place, that intuitive eating place, and making that connection, one of the things we do is would have you still follow your meal plan, but still check in, listen for your hunger and fullness at the beginning of each one of those meals and snacks. So all you're doing is just starting to pay attention to that. And then if you're working with a dietitian on your team, then you would slowly transition from using that meal plan. It's a slow transition into really letting your body dictate. Again, of course, it depends on where you are in weight restoration and all of those things. There's a lot of factors that go in that. But using the app, you would use your current meal plan and then still check in just to pay attention. As your body uses that meal plan, it starts to recover those cues. It starts to recover the hunger and fullness cues and lets you make that transition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and I would say too, probably that's when it would be, and Denise is such an awesome viewer. She's here all the time. And so I just want to say, hey, Denise, and, nice to see you. Just want to say too, that's probably could be one of the best times to use the app, because it can be so hard when you're following a meal plan. If it's a big adjustment from, obviously it's going to be a big adjustment from eating disordered behaviors, that's the time when you have to really, really intensely be listening and hearing those messages that come up, like go slowly, taste, breathe.
Breathe. And it's cool because when you, when you're using disordered behavior, you're ignoring, you're pressing mute on all your signals, and you're just dictating from, these are my rules, this is what I'm going to eat. And so you begin to really lose that connection between the hunger and fullness. And so it takes a while for that to come back online. And it's really cool when it starts to happen. A lot of people say they begin to still feel hunger, but they're not quite sure when they're full. And so it's a slow transition, but being aware and letting that be present, where are you now question come up on your phone is so lovely in recovery in general, because it helps us check in with our feelings and emotions around it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, we're getting to the end of our show here, and just want to, well, first of all, thank you guys so much for creating this, for taking the initiative and actually doing it. I know, as you've mentioned, it's been such a help to so many people already. Also, just want to bring in here, Dennis says, this app is great for menopausal women too, as our bodies and appetite change. Love it. So
I'm guessing that's not Dennis. I'm guessing that's
I'm guessing that's not Dennis too. But whoever is behind this Facebook account, I'm so glad that it has been super helpful for you. That's great. And thank you for sharing it with us. And Jamie also says thank you so much. So Megan, why don't you just round it out again for us, and let us know where people can find the app, where they can get it, and how much it costs, because
absolutely.
There, right?
I was going to say that when Amy and I first set off on this adventure into the app world, our mission too was there would be no barriers, because we want everybody to understand intuitive eating and have peace with food. And so for us, it was to be able to get it in the hands of people with the greatest ease possible. So it's $9.99. It's on the App Store. And it's available as Android as well in Google Play. So you can find it there. And one of the things that is coming up in the next month and a half is it will be on the Apple Watch. So those of you who have the iPhone, it'll be just sync right into your watch, where you can actually drag the rhythm tracker and tap and go. So you don't even have to have your phone with you. So we're really excited about that. And then, of course, the website that Kirsten had put up, you can find a bunch more information there as well.
Cool. Wonderful. So, so easy. And if you think of how much, treatment can cost, it can be incredibly cost prohibitive. So to have such an amazing tool like this at your fingertips, like that is really, really incredible. So, and Denise says, just checked. It is available here in South Africa. Yay. Woohoo. Yay. Good. Wonderful. Great. Well, Megan and Amy, thank you so much for your hearts. Thank you for your time. And again, coming back on here on Monday and being here. I know this was really, really helpful for all of our viewers, and will continue to be as well. And we wish you much, much success and many, many more downloads so that this can be as much of a help to as many people as possible.
Okay. Thank you so much for having us. What a joy to be here.
You're welcome.
So much.
All right, we're going to say bye to them. I'm going to go solo here for a second and just say thank you to all of you for watching. Thanks for signing in and being with us today. We've got another episode of Weekly Hope on Wednesday. So if you want to come back and join us, you can. That will be at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. for me here in Zurich. And I guess check your local times where I'm from, and I might be frozen. There we go, I'm back. Okay, but I just want to encourage you to download this app. I've downloaded it, I love it. It's really, really cool. Very, very easy to use. And of course, you've met the women behind it, and they're incredibly qualified. These aren't just people who made an app to make money that have done this thing. These are women who are actually in the field, who have decades of experience and have been on the other end of creating something that is incredibly essential to recovery. So I hope you'll take some time to check it out, to connect with them on social media, and of course, download the Peace with Food app. Link is in the comments below. So, all right, wherever you are, hope you have a wonderful, beautiful, blessed rest of your day and week, and we will see you back here on the Eating Disorder Hope Facebook page for another episode of Weekly Hope on Wednesday. All right, ciao, everyone.